Okay.
All right. First and foremost, we give all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh. We do so in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world calls Christ, YASHARAHLA. It's your brother, Chief Priest Alazar Lawyer, aka the Gorilla Hebrew.
It's a side.
And it's a lot for some technical difficulties. We have some technical difficulties this morning. I don't really understand what's going on. But we should be good and live and up and running through the spirit and power by the grace of the Most High, at this juncture. So, shalom, welcome. Good evening, good night, good morning, whoever's out there. Shabbat Shalom to our lunar Sabbath observers. On this holy and blessed Shabbat, we'd like to continue the program that we began. Who's that? Hey, big up, man, to the brother. Solar Mind, man. Got a big debate tomorrow. Y'all should tune in on the Solar Vision Debate League channel. You see him active in the chat. Click on that channel, sub to it. Notification gang, hit the bell, all that. You know, a powerful debate. Let me tell you something, Solar. I've been meaning to call you. I'm bringing the PowerPoint out for tomorrow. So I don't know if you're gonna have to make some adjustments with the presentation. I don't know, OBS acting up for me, so I just had to start it the simple way. But I'll bring the PowerPoint out tomorrow. Bring out the PowerPoint big guns in the spirit tomorrow. To the spirit of the Most High. So look out for that. Look out for the PowerPoint tomorrow. It should be powerful. Through the spirit and power by the grace of Yahweh, Shem, Yahweh. But shalom to everybody in the chat. Shalom to everybody in the chat. Big debate tomorrow, though. Like I said, Solar Vision, tune in. I'll be debating a brother named Goldmine. And the topic will be the Bible or the Nile Valley civilization, which is more conducive for the black family. Which is more conducive for the black family? That'll be the subject of tomorrow's debate. Should be powerful in the spirit. Big up to brother Daniel Jones. Shalom. It should be real powerful in the spirit. Shalom Shatar, Ayashawad, Yeshua Tazdak, Sister Vanessa, Ariya, see you, Moana, everybody. Shalom to y'all. Much love and respect to y'all. Brother Nicholas, all y'all. So, and everybody make sure to check out last week's video. If you haven't checked out last week, even if you have, go over it. It's a lot of information in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh we went over in last week's video. All 5 of them hours are power hours in the spirit. You know, the Most High powered that up. So, everybody seen big up to brother Ariato in the chat. Everybody seen him the star, one of the stars of this last Deacon's last music video, Black and Brown. Yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and super chat. But last week we was going heavy off into it. We was deep, going into them deep waters. Last week's live class, everybody needs to watch that. Okay, everybody needs to watch that. Everybody also needs to watch 2 videos that we've uploaded this week, and that is that the Irish had Haitian slaves, and Abolitionism and Feminism Exposed. I think all three of those videos are mandatory. If you are in SICARRI and you haven't watched those, you will be hearing from your officers before the end of the week, because you will be mandated to watch those. Those are very important.
You will.
Very important videos. Okay. They need the information that I can certainly need. We're going to continue in that same spirit and go more into the history and the Torah law for the nation of Israel. Mike's a little crackly. I don't know if there's much I can do about that.
Keep talking.
I don't know if it's much I can do about that. We've been having all kinds of technical rather difficulties this morning. How's that?
It is a little bit. I mean, you can clearly tell what we're saying, but it is a little choppy. It's not like smooth, if you can tell.
No, why? Let me
try to find, maybe because that part of the mic is in the.
It's always like that. It ain't never not like that. Yeah, I mean, we just gonna have to deal with it tonight. I'm gonna tell you that. Yeah. That powerful sister. She did that. Y'all see I tagged her baptism video as well at the end of the video. You can check out that sister getting baptized. Okay, that's a sister that walked up to us on the street, got taught this truth in the spirit, came into this truth, married a powerful brother in this truth, and now is doing big things for us in various avenues, all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh. So it's beautiful. It's all good. I can hear you. All praises. Big up to my brothers out there in Detroit, man. Looking forward to my next time out there in Detroit. Most High willing. Real quick, I want to give this quick update on Botham, Shem, victim of a murder by the devil, Dallas police officer Amber Geiger. Okay, my apologies. So the grand jury here in Dallas, Texas, actually took a look at the case on Monday. Okay, so there were three potential outcomes. The three outcomes were they were going to indict, they were going to indict on manslaughter, or they would indict on murder. Those are the three outcomes. They said that if they weren't going to indict, that would have been known on Monday. It's Wednesday morning now, so they are going to indict. The question is, are they going to indict on manslaughter or murder? Most High will, what they're saying is we should know by end of day today whether they're going to charge her for manslaughter or murder going forward. If they don't charge her for murder, they should expect to be hearing from us as far as, demonstrating in front of, one of their buildings or speaking out about it in the streets. Please believe we're going to be doing that like we have been doing through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh. We most certainly have not forgotten about our beloved brother from the tribe of Levi, Botham Shem.
That's right.
All right. So we want to make sure that we are constantly and consistently keeping YASHARAHLA up to date with the goings-on of that brother's murder and, the legal proceedings, etc. Okay. With that being said, I want to get directly into it today, tonight, this morning, whatever it is to you, whatever it is to you. So we're going to start, we're going to be going for the history. We're going to be dealing with the book of Genesis, the 16th chapter to the 20th chapter. And for the law, we're going to jump around a little bit. We're going to jump around in Exodus 25, Exodus 31, and then we're going to go to Leviticus 4, 5, and 6. So shall be powerful. Hope y'all ready to dive deep this morning. So let's start in Genesis 16. Read 1 and 2.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 16, verse 1.
It
says, now Sarai, Abram's wife.
Sarai, her name is changed to Sarah, right? But at this time, she's Sarai and Abraham is Abram. Read on.
Bare him no children. And she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar.
So she had a handmaid. Hagar. She was a Hamite, a Mazzaronianite, or an Egyptian, a Cometian, whatever you want to call her. She was one of those women, right? She was the handmaid of Sarai. Read on.
Verse 2. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold, now Yahweh hath restrained me from bearing.
She's telling him, look, man, the Most High ain't giving me no kids. Read on.
I pray thee, go in unto my maid.
She begged this man to have sex with this woman, right? She begged him. And, you know, just take notes, sisters. Go ahead.
It says, and it may be that I may obtain children by her.
This is a key part.
Yeah.
She says that I may obtain children by her. Meaning these are not her children. Who is her? Hagar. Sarah wanted to obtain children by Hagar. Drop that, or hold that rather. Ruth 4:10-17.
That's crazy.
This is how you get the understanding of Ruth, who is not an Israelite.
Yes.
Go ahead.
The Ruth 4:10. It says, moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Malon, have I purchased to be my wife.
So she was bought. Read.
To raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance.
Go ahead.
That the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren.
Read on.
And from the gate of his place, ye are witnesses this day.
Go ahead.
You said 2:17?
So unto 17, yeah.
Okay, it says verse 11. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, we are witnesses. Yahweh will make the woman that is come into thine house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel, and do thou worthily in Ephratah, and be famous in Bethlehem. And let thy house be like the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bare unto Judah, of the seed which Yahweh shall give thee of this young woman.
You know what all the women have in common that were mentioned? They're not Israelites. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It says, verse 13. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when he went in unto her, Yahweh gave her conception, and she bare a son.
That's right. Go ahead.
And the women said unto Naomi, Blessed be Yahweh. I'm going to read that again. And the women said unto Naomi, Blessed be Yahweh, which hath not left thee this day without a kinsman, that his name may be famous in Israel. And he shall be unto thee a restorer of thy life, and a nourisher of thine old age.
Go ahead.
For thy daughter-in-law, which loveth thee, which is better to thee than 7 sons, hath borne him. And Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom, and became nurse unto it. And the women, I'm reading verse 17 slowly, and the women, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, There is a son born to Naomi.
The son is born to who?
Naomi.
Naomi. See, a son was raised up to Naomi through Ruth. The only time that happens is just like we're seeing here, when a heathen woman bears a son as a surrogate mother to, in that case, a Shemitic woman, but in this case, with the chosen line, Israel. Okay, this is showing you that Ruth was in a position of a slave and a servant who was playing the role of a surrogate mother for a woman of the chosen lineage, totally disqualifying her from being Israel.
Yeah,
entirely. Right. Go ahead.
Verse finish that out. It says, and the women, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, There is a son born to Naomi, and they called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David.
There you go. Back to Genesis.
This is Genesis chapter 16 and verse 3. It says, and Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, I'm going to finish verse 2. It says, and Sarai said unto Abram, Behold, now Yahweh hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her.
So this, her servant, she wanted to use as her surrogate mother, so she begged her husband to have sex with Hagar. Right? Read on.
And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai.
Okay, you ain't got to tell me twice. Go ahead.
And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife.
Read on.
And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived.
Okay, so she realized that she's pregnant now, right? Women, you already know, 3-4 weeks, you got that in this period. You know, you're having morning sickness for some, etc., etc. You realize that you are now a child. Read on. They didn't have the EPT test, you know, in Abraham's time. Go ahead.
It says her mistress was despised in her eyes.
In her eyes. So once she became pregnant, she began to hate Sarai because it's a thing of jealousy. Now she is pregnant by this man. Naturally, emotionally, she has an attachment to Abraham, and she began to hate Sarai over it. Right? Read on.
And Sarai said unto Abram, my wrong be upon thee.
She mad as hell at her. Go ahead.
I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes.
She mad as hell at Abraham, and she blaming Abraham for the beef now between her and Hagar. Read on.
Yeah, I will judge between me and thee.
She just brought the Most High into it. That's how upset she was, blaming this man for her bright idea. Read on.
But Abram said unto Sarai, behold, thy maid is in thy hand.
He said, that's your property. That's your possession. Hagar, that maid is in thine hand. Read on.
Do to her as it pleaseth thee.
Do whatever you want to her. That's not my girl. You told me to have sex with her. Do whatever you want. Read.
And when Sarai dealt hardly with her,
meaning Sarai began to oppress and rule with rigor over Hagar because of the jealous spirit that she showed towards Sarai. Read on.
She fled from her face.
So it got so bad to Hagar that Hagar ran away. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water.
Here come an angel. Finds her by a fountain of water, naturally seeking replenishment from running away. Go ahead.
A fountain of water.
I said women are nuts. He's got that right. Go ahead.
In the wilderness by the fountain in the way to shore.
To shore. Now, shore is just east of the Nile Delta, but it's still technically what you would call Canaan land. All right, go ahead.
And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence comest thou? And whither wilt thou go?
Where are you coming from, and where do you think you're going? Is what the angel was asking. Read on.
And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai.
Hold on, Dwayne J said I heard she was 10 years old. That's sick, disgusting. What book teaches that?
No, that's Isaac and Rebecca. They say was 10 years old. That's what Enoch says. Joshua says that.
That's disgusting. No, the women are not 10. You have to understand something. 10 years old. We're talking about people who have the ability to bear children. Do you understand that the average woman was not even going through her menstrual cycle, which is, you know, something that has to happen in order for her to be able to bear children until they were in their late teens just 100 years ago?
Yeah.
This when girls having a period at 9 years old is a new thing in the earth. You got to understand that first and foremost. So there's no way she was 10 because there would be no question as to whether or not she could conceive or not because she hadn't even had a damn period yet. All of that is asinine. People were living longer. If you were living longer during this time, that means it would extend the period it would take for you to go through your pubescence. This is all scientific, not pedophilia like these psychopaths and nutbags on the internet to read all these pseudepigraphical books and come up with all these crazy theories that try to demonize our forefathers. Our forefather Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, none of them were pedophiles. Those are righteous and holy men. So read on.
Damn right. It says, verse 9, and the angel of the Lord said unto her, return to thy mistress and submit thyself.
He said, go back to Sarah and submit yourself to her like you're supposed to. Read on.
And submit thyself under her hands. And the angel of Yahweh said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude.
Now you got Arabs all over the place. That's what came out of her. The Arabs, the Ishmaelites, they've been multiplied all over the earth. They got Libya, all the way from North Africa, Morocco, all the way deep into Iraq.
They in damn Egypt right now.
From Morocco to Iraq, they have all of that land. Then they have set up shop all over the earth. They're a large group of people. They're a powerful nation of people, right? Go ahead.
Well, you got Arabs trying to enforce Sharia law in London right now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Verse 11, and the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because Yahweh hath heard thy affliction.
Ishmael, because Yahweh hath heard thy affliction. Ishmael is Yasharal in the Hebrew, meaning he has heard of God, or he was heard of God.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why the Arabs follow Islam, and Islam is similar to the Torah. Sharia law is similar to the Torah because they heard of God. They don't know the Most High, they're not in covenant with the Most High like we are, but they have heard of him, so their customs are similar to ours. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 12, and he will be a wild man, his hand will be against every man.
Yeah, he's a wild man. He goes against everybody, he makes war, he makes IEDs, he does all these various things because he's a wild man. Go ahead.
His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him.
And everyone's against the Arab man, right? White people have anti-Arabic rhetoric, right? Black people, all people, you know what I'm saying? All of us, nobody really likes Arabs when you break it down. Go ahead.
And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren.
Meaning they dwell amongst each other.
Yeah.
Okay, that don't mean amongst Shem and Japheth. Japheth and Ham, rather. That means they dwell amongst each other. That's why they have all these countries that they are the predominant people in. Go ahead.
Verse 13. It says, and she called the name of Yahweh that spake unto her. Thou God seest me, for she said, have I also here looked after him that seeth me? Wherefore the well was called BERNARDINO. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Barah.
So BERNARDINO means the well of him that liveth and seeth me. Right. So she's saying that Yahweh lives. Of course, he's a living God, and he saw her and had some form of mercy unto her. So because of that, she called it for her Laharai, something to that effect. And that's what it means, the well of him that liveth and seeth me. Read on.
It says, and Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name, which Hagar bare Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abram.
So he was 86 when Ishmael was born. Go ahead.
This is Genesis 17:1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9.
Now he's 99. This is 13 years later. Go ahead.
Yahweh appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect.
Walk before me, be perfect. You see that? So this is another thing that clears up that misconception. When people want to talk about, oh, we can't be perfect, blah, blah, blah. The Most High has required us to be perfect, meaning to be complete. All right, go ahead.
It says, verse 2, and I'll make my covenant between me and thee and will multiply thee exceedingly.
Read on.
In verse 3, and Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations.
So Yahweh is telling him through this angel, through a medium, as he communicates with human beings, thou shalt be a father to many nations. But remember, at this point, he has one son. That's it. But he's being told now, he's being promised by the Most High, you shall be a father of many nations. Read on.
Neither shall thy name anymore be called Abram, but thy name shall be called Abraham.
This is when his name is changed. Abraham. Read.
For a father of many nations have I made thee.
Because that's what Abraham means. Read on.
And I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations out of thee.
Read on.
And kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant.
That's the covenant that's coming to Isaac's descendants and then to Jacob's descendants, to the Israelites. Read on.
In their generation for an everlasting covenant to be a God unto thee and to thy seed after thee.
Go ahead.
And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the lands wherein thou art a stranger.
Meaning Canaan. Read on.
All the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God.
Who's God?
Their God.
The God of his offspring, which is Israel. Read us.
Yeah, that's what's to be a God unto thee and to thy seed. Verse 9. And God said unto Abraham, thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised.
So this is the covenant, that every man child among you shall be circumcised. Don't ever let anyone tell you you ain't got to be circumcised. Read that part again.
This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised.
So it's a covenant that our forefather Abraham, in whom we've inherited these marvelous promises from, through his faith and his works, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Shem, our forefather Abraham entered into covenant with our God Yahweh, the creator of heaven and earth, to circumcise every man child. So if you're not circumcised and you're walking around calling yourself an Israelite, you best to get your ass circumcised, okay? Because your forefathers swore that you would. So you're held to that standard to physically get circumcised. Go ahead.
And ye shall, verse 11, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you.
It is a sign. This is why it's so important. Your forefathers swore that you would do it as a sign of that covenant that is upholding us to its promises. The covenant that our forefather entered into with Yahweh ensures the salvation of the nation of Israel, ensures Hamashiach Yahweh shall come into this earth and saving Israel and beginning a reign on this earth that will put Israel on the highest of pedestals that it will never be brought down from. And the only token that we have in that covenant is that we cut our foreskins and are circumcised. So you must do it. Read on.
It says, verse 12, and he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations.
And when you understand the science of it, at 8 days old, that's when the blood begins to clot better. So that's when it's really the earliest you can safely perform the medical procedure known as a circumcision. Okay? So there's science, perfect science within our Torah. That's what you have to understand. Go ahead.
Every man child in your generations, he that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger.
It says even worse, or even more than just us, any servant, any slave that we have, who's not even an Israelite, if they're going to be in our land around us, in our home serving us, they got to be circumcised. Read on.
Which is not of thy which is not of thy seed. He that is born in thy house and he that is bought with thy money must needs be circumcised.
Must be circumcised. That's simple. Go ahead.
And my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised man child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people.
You can't even come around us if you're not. So you're not even supposed to be able to come around the congregation uncircumcised.
Yeah.
That's what's there in the Bible. That's the covenant that our forefather Abraham entered into with Yahweh. So it is of extreme importance that a Hebrew Israelite man circumcise himself, that his children, that are sons, boys, get circumcised. It's a must. Go ahead.
Kind of that even goes into because the Christians are going to love to go into the book of Acts. Remember in Acts 15 when they had that council regarding circumcision, they're going to go there and say, "Oh, see, they said don't do this or don't." But then the very next chapter, what happens with Paul and Timothy?
He got circumcised.
He got circumcised, and that's why part of the reason they were even not cool with Timothy in the first place. But then as soon as he got circumcised, there was no problem because of this. Because your soul that doesn't get circumcised is supposed to be cut off, like Alzar was saying. So they weren't even supposed to be dealing with each other. Verse 15. Matter of fact, let me get let me keep on. Okay. Verse 15. And God said unto Abraham, as for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be.
So now Sarah's name is changed. Go ahead.
It says, and I will bless her and give thee a son also of her.
That's right. He said he will give her a son of her. No, it's all right. Go ahead.
Yea, I will bless her and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her.
Uh-huh.
Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart.
Abraham could not believe this. This sounded foolish to Abraham.
A father of faith.
Right? Go ahead.
It says, laughed and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old?
He said, I'm 100 years old. How in the hell am I going to have a kid? Read.
And shall Sarah that is 90 years old?
Sarah is 90. You got a couple that's 190.
Yeah.
How are they going to reproduce a child? That's unheard of, even in those times. Read.
Yeah, that proves that they were right around the same age.
Yeah, they're 10 years apart. So she wasn't 10. That's madness. Read.
And Abraham said unto God, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee.
Mm-hmm. He said, yeah, no, Ishmael good enough. Go ahead.
Verse 19, and God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed.
He said, no, it's going to be Sarah. All right, she indeed will bear you a son. Read on.
And thou shalt call his name Isaac.
Uh-huh.
And I will establish my covenant with him.
Mm-hmm. That's the man. Okay, Isaac. Okay, which in the Hebrew is Yatazakak, meaning he shall laugh.
Okay.
Which is an allusion to Abraham laughing at this story. But it has a deeper indication, but it's an allusion to it, right? Go ahead.
And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him.
That's right. Go ahead.
And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee.
Mm-hmm. I heard you of Ishmael. Yeah. Read on.
I have blessed him.
He's blessed. Go ahead.
And will make him fruitful.
He's gonna be fruitful. He the Arabs now. They got Dubai, Abu Dhabi, flying all the finest black women from America to Dubai to do all kind of debauchery to them. They've been blessed. Go ahead.
And will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation.
Mm-hmm. So he became a great nation of people. Now you have the North African Arab, the East African Arab, the Arab of the Levant, the Yemenis. You got all these various Arabs now that have become a large people group in the world and a factor in the world. Go ahead.
It says, but my covenant will I establish with Isaac.
But the covenant is not to Ishmael. I'm going to bless him just off GP because he comes out of your loins. But the covenant I'm talking about, this everlasting thing, it's going through Isaac. Go ahead.
But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this time in the next year.
So he said within the next year. Okay. This is important to understand a year when you understand the science of it, because in order or the most conducive state for a woman to be in, for her to reproduce a child, is after 3 perfect periods. She goes through 3 perfect moon cycle periods, boom, 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 then she has a baby. That's 12 months time. Go ahead.
It says, verse 22, and he left off talking with him, and God went up from Abraham. Verse 23, and Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin.
He circumcised everybody. Right, go ahead.
In the selfsame day, as God had said unto him.
Mannix Chambers, are we Isaac seed black people in America? Yes, black, Hispanic, and Native Americans are Isaac, and more importantly, Jacob's seed. Go ahead.
And Abraham was 90 years old and 9 when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin.
Go ahead.
And Ishmael his son was 30 years old, was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin.
Go ahead.
And the selfsame day was Abraham circumcised and Ishmael his son.
Go ahead.
And all the men of his house, born in the house and bought with money of the stranger, were circumcised with him.
All them heathens, all them servants, all his men circumcised. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 18. And Yahweh appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him.
Here's 3 men. Come on, read on.
And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself toward the ground. Verse 3, and said, my Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Let a little water, I pray thee, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. So
Abraham is trying to be hospitable to these 3 men. Go ahead.
Verse 5, I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort your hearts. After that ye shall pass on, for therefore are ye come to your servant. And they said, so do as thou hast said.
You let them do it. Go ahead.
And Abraham hastened into the tent unto Sarah and said, make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the hearth. And Abraham ran unto the herd and fetched a calf tender and good, and gave it unto a young man, and he hastened to dress it. And he took butter,
to kill it and prepare it to be eaten. Go ahead.
and he took butter and milk and a calf which he had dressed, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat.
Go ahead.
And they said unto him, where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life.
The time of life, meaning the time that it takes for a child to be conceived and born. Right, read on.
And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door which was behind them. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women.
Meaning after the manner of women, meaning what? Her period. She no longer had her period. Right? So here we have a woman who is menopausal, and she is going to conceive a child. She's been told this. After menopause. Menopause is when your body has produced all the eggs that it could. Right? Go ahead. Because women are unlike men in that women have a literal clock. As soon as your period starts, right, a woman is born with all the eggs that she's ever going to produce. As soon as she's born, right? So as soon as her period starts, she's releasing eggs. She's releasing eggs. She's losing eggs over the course of her life before then, hundreds and thousands of eggs even before her period starts. Then her period starts, she's letting eggs out, etc. She has a limited amount of time, before she ain't producing those no more. Sarah had reached this time already. So it was asinine to her that she was going to get knocked up, right? Read on. Yes, tombs of these 3 men are angels. Go ahead.
Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? And Yahweh said unto Abraham,
she said, my Lord being old, we're not even having sex anymore. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I?
The Most High. Well, what the hell is so funny, Sarah? Go ahead.
Wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child which am old? Is anything too hard for Yahweh?
It's not too hard. I do what the hell I want to do. If I want to put a baby in you, I'll do it. If I want to make an egg manifest in you and you shoot it out of your ovary and your husband get hot and go and have sex with you and fertilize that egg, I'm going to do it. Huh? Go ahead.
At the time appointed, I will return unto thee, according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laughed not, for she was afraid. And he said, nay.
She didn't laugh, not realizing she thought it in her head. And of course, the Most High knows your thoughts. Go ahead.
And he said, nay, but thou didst laugh.
You laugh. I heard it in your mind. Go ahead.
Come. It says, and the men rose up from thence. And
see, and even the case of Isaac's birth, this is a birth of the Holy Ghost on the same wise of Mashiach. Well, spoiler alert, they're the same guy. They're the same guy. So it only makes sense that they're born under similar guises. But here you have, they're not even sexually active like that, pursuant to what Sarah is saying. And she's menopausal. Yet all of a sudden one night they have sex and it just so happens to where she's letting the egg out. So it's an uncustomary thing, but it's not this supernatural thing that people are making it out to be. So go ahead.
It says, verse 16, and the men rose up from thence and looked towards Sodom, and Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And Yahweh said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of Yahweh to do justice and judgment, that Yahweh may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken of him.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great,
the water is short. Go ahead.
And because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it.
Go ahead. So now the sins of Sodom and Gomorrah have reached unto heaven at this point. So now we're stepping away from the situation with Abraham. Now these same angels, they're appointed to go into Sodom and Gomorrah and see if the cry of all the wickedness committed there is in fact true. Right? So read on.
Just come unto me, and if not, I will know. And the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before the hour. And Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked?
So here's Abraham in an attempt to get mercy for Sodom and Gomorrah. Read on.
And Abraham drew near, verse 24, peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city.
He said, look, if I can get you 50 righteous men in that city, read on.
Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place?
Can we get mercy for 50 men? Right? Read on.
For the 50 righteous that are therein?
Uh-huh.
That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked, that be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? And how it said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then will I spare all the place.
Yeah, I would say I'll spare it. I'll spare the whole place if you can give me 50 righteous men. Read on.
For their sakes. And Abraham answered and said,
mind y'all to remember, Abraham, his number one, his little nephew stayed there.
Yeah.
That's Lot. Also, though, he collaborated with them to go and get Lot back, as we read last week. Put in work with these niggas. Right? That's a fact. We have 4 or 5 that was putting in work on niggas.
Yeah.
Right? In the old age, laying stuff down. Right? So he's trying to get mercy on these people. He said, God said, 50 men delivered the city. You know?
And Abraham answered and said, behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, which in but dust and ashes. Peradventure there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous.
He said, all right, look, right. I might not can give you 50 niggas. But let's say like I can give you 45 niggas, right? Go ahead.
Will thou destroy all the city for lack of 5? And he said, if I find there 40 and 5, I will not destroy it.
Look, you give me 45 niggas, I got you. Go ahead.
And he spake unto him yet again and said, peradventure there shall be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it for 47.
All right, 40, go ahead.
And he said unto him, oh, let not the Lord be angry. And I will speak peradventure.
He said, Mosiah, don't be mad at me. But I got some more bargaining to do with you. Right? Read on.
And I will speak.
It's a Negro, man. Go ahead.
Peradventure there shall be 30.
All right, 30. Started at 50. Abraham knows these niggas.
Yeah.
He done took it all the way down to 30. He done talked Yahweh down to 30. Read on.
And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there.
All right, 30 men. Go ahead.
And he said, behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord.
He keeps clarifying it now. I'm taking it upon myself to speak to you, right? Go ahead.
Peradventure there shall be 20 found there.
He look, he didn't even go to 25 this time. We're going to jump straight to 20. 20 men. Go ahead.
And he said, I will not destroy it for 26.
20 for a dub. I got you. I'll let the whole city go. Go ahead.
And he said, oh, let not the Lord be angry.
Please don't be mad at me. One more request. Go ahead.
And I will speak yet but this once.
Just one more time.
Peradventure 10 shall be found there.
Let me just, 10 niggas? 10 niggas. This is
the clip he was clicked up with.
Them niggas, the top niggas, right?
Yeah.
10 niggas. Go ahead.
And he said, I will not destroy it for 10.
I won't destroy it for 10 men. You got to went from 50 to 10. Abraham was beseeching big and attempted to deliver these people. Right? Go ahead.
And then it was like, this is let you know how wicked America is, bro. Because he said for 10, he wanted to destroy Sodom. But he's going to say the elect for 1/3 everyone's getting eviscerated here.
That's right.
Verse 33. And Yahweh went his way as soon as he had left communicating with Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place. And there came 2 angels to Sodom at even. And Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot seeing them rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house.
Come with me. These are the angels. Here's Lot. Come with me. Read on.
And tarry all night, and wash your feet, and you shall rise up early.
Yes, kick it in my crib for the eve. Go ahead.
And go on your ways. And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night.
Now, we want to be on the block. We want to listen. The angels come See, there were some angels that went to Sin City last month.
Yeah, yeah.
The angels of the sector of the SICARRI. We went to Sin City and we was in the street all night, right? And some of them nights. We was doing it. Okay, myself, Officer Bazak Barrias, Sergeant Shamar Yashar, Officer Yajman Lawyer. Who else was there? Officer Naquai. Was Naquai there? Naquai came. Naquai was there. Officer Naquai Kayal. Officer Ayasha Wab. Ayash became an officer there. The soldier, Danyala. He was the only soldier there, huh? Danyala. So we went on that. We was in the street all night. So Officer Ayathan. Let me forget Ayathan. Ayalba Lawyer. We was in the street all night in Las Vegas. Because we wanted to read that again. We had the same mentality as these angels, you're going to find out, read. Because we are angels as well. You're going to find out. Yeah. Go ahead.
It says, and they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night.
We will abide in the street all night. You know why we want to abide in the street? We want to see all the evil and wickedness that's going on here.
Yeah.
We want to see it so we can cry to our Father about it. So when we was going out to the streets, we were armed with testimony and firsthand experience, and we can speak to these people with to the wickedness that they're out in them streets doing, because we were there and we saw it. That's why all I kept talking about the whole time in Vegas was prostitution, because the number one thing that stuck out to me that was going on in Vegas was the black woman selling her ass. Plenty of that was going on. So, but we had to abide all night in the streets to see these things. Same way these angels said, nah, we ain't going to your crib, we're going to kick it in the streets. I want to see how wicked these sodomites are. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what a lot was. He probably knew what was going down.
Yeah, that's what he said, man. Just come and read my house. You don't even want to be around these niggas. These niggas is off. Right? Go ahead.
It said, and he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him and entered into his house.
He's like, nah, man. Nah. We got to go in the crib. You don't even want to see how evil these niggas is. These niggas is next level wicked. Right? Go ahead.
Yeah, and entered into his house.
I don't know. What's Korean, Dallas, Texas, man. Go ahead.
And he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round.
They can pass the house just because they seen the angels of the Lord. Read on.
Both old and young, all the people from every quarter. God. And they called unto Lot.
Every quarter, people from all over the city of Sodom came to see these angels, these mighty angels. Go ahead.
And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came into thee this night?
Where are these niggas at? Go ahead.
Bring them out unto us, that we may know them.
These guys are homosexuals.
Yeah.
They wanted to gang rape 2 angels of the Lord. Sickos.
That's right.
So there wasn't even 10 men in this whole town that was righteous. It was just Lot. Go ahead.
And Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him. And said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly.
He said, please don't be this evil to these angels of God. Go ahead.
Behold now, I have 2 daughters, which have not known man.
And he said, look, I got 2 daughters. They ain't known nobody, these 2 women. I got 2 daughters, 2 virgins. Read.
I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes.
Here, I'll give you the girls, so you guys ain't at least raping men. Right now, a lot of people will go who are criticizers of the Bible, and they'll say, "Well, you know, Lot. See, this man Lot, he was gonna give his daughters up. What is that about?" Hey, excuse me, stupid. This guy is not a Hebrew Israelite. This guy is not a righteous forefather of Israel. This guy is not a role model for the Hebrew Israelites. So you bringing up what this nigga did really ain't got nothing to do with nothing about us. It has no bearings upon us that he just said, here, have my daughters. That's not about us. He's not one of us. Okay, so you have to understand that about the story. This is just what he did at that time, and that was on him. Shabbat Shalom, so to Daniela. That was his decision at that time. That's on him. That doesn't reflect on the Hebrew Israelites, because he isn't one. He isn't the forefather of the Israelites. The forefather of 2 degenerate mamzer nations, which we'll get to later. Go ahead.
Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they.
Don't be a homosexual, please, is what Lot is saying. Go ahead.
Therefore came they under the shadow of my roof.
They hear they in my house, and it'd be a damn shame for me to allow something to happen to these men. Go ahead.
And they said, stand back.
They say, Lot, get your ass back. That's how these niggas is like, what's his name? Fleece Johnson.
No.
This Sodom and Gomorrah was a whole town of Fleece Johnsons.
Oh boy.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And they said again, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came into sojourn, and he will needs to be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them.
Yeah, now we gonna get you worse, nigga. We gonna get you worse, and we gonna get them. Which I can only imagine what worse than whatever they intended to do to them angels was. These freaks.
Yeah.
These town of Fleece Johnsons, Hamites. Go ahead.
Tons of, yeah.
Go ahead.
And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot.
They pressed sore. Right, go ahead.
And came near to break the door.
They kicked the door in.
Yeah.
Fleece Johnsons, man, go ahead.
But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut to the door. And they smote the men that were at the door.
So the angels, they're not playing. These are angels of God here. They smote the men, read.
And smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness.
They can't see no more. They wanted to rape a man. They can't see no more. They don't deserve to see these Fleece Johnson niggas.
Yeah.
They don't deserve the use of their members because they dishonor their body and they dishonor their members with their fornication and their unseemly lust. Read on.
Both small and great, so they wearied themselves to find the door.
No, they couldn't see nothing. They're blind. Go ahead.
And the man said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides?
Go ahead.
Son-in-law, and thy sons, and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place.
He said, look, if you anything you love in this town, get them now. Because this is done. That's all the angels need to see. That the whole town wanted to rape them.
Come out there and
he said, listen, Lot, go get whoever you care about in this God-forsaken town. We're getting ready to destroy this place.
Yeah.
See, the angels, they come in like the Predator, right? The Predator got remember he be in the woods, he'll have his spaceship in the woods somewhere, and he'll just start stalking about the city. You know what I'm saying? They came up in there, all right, cool, we're about to go back to these chariots. And from these chariots, we're going to destroy this. That's what you understand what destroyed Sodom and its 5 cities. The chariots of God destroyed.
Yeah.
The angels of God, big black men,
right,
got in flying saucers for and used otherworldly technology to destroy this place.
Yeah.
Okay, I know it may sound crazy.
Yeah.
You watch it all the time. You watch The Predator and these various other sci-fi films. This is what happened. I know it sounds crazy, but this is what happened. Go ahead.
Yeah. It says, and when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city.
All right, just go get your wife, your 2 daughters. They couldn't even get 5 people. 4 people, and really gonna be 3 people, right? Read. We know the story. Not a spoiler alert. We know the story. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's come out of my people, and so you be not partakers.
That's right. That's the first instance of it, right? Go ahead.
And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hands and upon the hand of his wife.
They try to grab him and stop him. Go ahead.
And upon the hand of his 2 daughters. Yahweh being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city.
So like, not them and the angels. So with they didn't even grab them, or they didn't even tell them, all right, look, y'all just walk out of the city. Literally, they grabbed them, meaning they transported them. Okay, this is otherworld technology. What you would call it. You know what I'm saying? This is the abilities that the angels have been given. They just took them and brought them out of the city, right? Because they get ready to get in the chariots and start tearing stuff apart. I don't know if y'all know about angels and what angels do. You know, look at my little angel.
Yeah.
You know, angels come to kill. You read about angels in this Bible, they come to lay it down, period. They love angels. The angels of Yahweh love to kill people for God. They love to say, God, who do you want me to kill? I'm going to go kill him. I'm going to kill 1 million people. I'm going to kill 10,000 people. What do you want me to do, Lord? That's what angels are like. They're like the most vicious shooter in your hood. They just can't wait for some beef to happen. so they can go put some work in. They can't wait to kill. They want to please Yahweh through killing people.
Yeah.
Okay, understand that. Read.
This is Iraq.
Like the brother said, hitmen for Yahweh. Go ahead.
It says there be spirits that are created for vengeance.
These angels, a lot of these angels are created. They're not created to be sweet. They're created to be spirits for vengeance. They are created by Yahweh to kill people.
Yeah.
To cause a mayhem, to bring natural disasters into fruition. These angels have been created for this purpose. Go ahead.
Which in their fury lay on sore strokes.
In
the time of their destruction, they pour out their force.
They pour out a force. And that's the force that these angels are getting ready to pour out on Sodom, Gomorrah, and the other 5 cities. Go ahead.
And appease the wrath of him that made them.
They want to please the Most High in killing people. They know that killing people pleases Yahweh, man, because he kills and he makes alive. Go ahead.
This is Genesis 19 and
yeah, Daniel Joe. They think about Cupid. No, Cupid is not an angel. Cupid is a figment of the white man's satanic imagination. Shalom Soldier is already out, right? Whatchamacallit? The angel is a killing instrument for the Most High, essentially. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life. Look not behind.
Brought them out of the city, leave. Don't look back. Because they understood the science of the technology, the weaponry that they had on chariots. And they knew that if you looked at this destruction, what it would do to you. Read.
Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in the plain, in all the plain. Escape to the mountain.
Don't just sit here and don't look back. Run your ass to the mountains. Read.
Lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, oh, not so, my Lord.
Please, no, go ahead.
Behold now, thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed unto me in saving my life. And I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me and I die.
You know he's scared. Here's Lot scared. I don't mess with Lot. Go ahead.
Yeah, behold now, this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one. Oh,
let me run to this little town. Don't let me go up in this mountain, some damn Kodiak bear pop out of a cave and just eat my head off. Go ahead.
Oh, let me escape thither. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live.
Go ahead.
It says, and he said unto him, see, I have accepted thee concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city for the which thou hast spoken.
We're going to leave this city so you can run into it with your scary ass. Go ahead.
Haste thee, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till thou become thither.
Yeah, hurry up, get over there, because I can't destroy this place until you done got in here, because we got to make sure you safe. Right? Go ahead.
Therefore, the name of the city was called Zoar. And the sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar. Then Yahweh rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah.
Yahweh rained. How did Yahweh rain upon Sodom and Gomorrah? He had his 2 angels go get in chariots and destroy it. Rain, like I would say, for lack of a better word, otherworldly technology and weaponry that look like concentrated fire on that place. Something directly out of Independence Day occurred to Sodom and Gomorrah. Read on.
It says, burst on fire from Yahweh out of heaven, and he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities and that which grew upon the grounds. But his wife,
and that which grew, meaning that nothing, no vegetation could grow. Yeah, read on.
But his wife looked back from behind him.
Here this idiot goes. She's looking back at that town. She's looking back at Sodom and Gomorrah. She's gonna miss it. She was sick. Let me tell you something about Lot's wife. Lot's wife was sick.
Yeah.
Lot's wife was doing God knows what in Sodom and Gomorrah. That's why she looked back. She looked back longing for that. Ain't that what people say when they want to really leave a place and they dislike a place? They want to go and they never want to look back. She wanted to look back. Why? That's her heart longing for Sodom and Gomorrah. Read on.
And she became a pillar of salt.
And she became a pillar of salt because you got to think about what's blasting up out of these chariots. It's you know, when you're dealing with something, even when you're looking at certain high density power laser beams that this man has ability to do, you got to wear glasses for. So imagine that level that the Most High had them chariots running at. So it turned into a pillar of salt. Read on.
It says, my fault. Verse 27. Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before Yahweh, and he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the plain, and behold, and lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace.
You see, and this was getting ready to happen to America.
Yeah.
Because America ain't nothing but Sodom remixed.
Yeah.
So it's getting ready to happen to America. Read on.
It says, and it came to pass when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow.
So the whole reason Lot is being preserved here is because he remembered Abraham, and that's Abraham's little nephew. That's the whole purpose. Okay, read on.
It says, which he overthrew the cities in the which Lot dwelt.
Mm-hmm.
And Lot went up out of Zoar and dwelt in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him.
Yeah, the goal is out there anyway.
For he feared to dwell in Zoar, and he dwelt in a cave.
Now he's afraid to be in Zoar, so now he went to where he was told to go in the first place. Crawled his ass in a cave. We don't mess with Lot, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He and his 2 daughters. And the firstborn said unto the younger, our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come.
They thought the whole world was destroyed. Right? That's what they believed. And our father is old. Read on.
And there is not a man in the earth to come in unto us after the manner of all the earth.
That's right.
Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him.
We're going to get our daddy drunk, and we're going to have sex with our father. Read on.
That we may preserve seed of our father.
That we can preserve our father's seed, because none of his offspring other than these 2 women made it out. Right, read on.
And they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father. And she perceived not when she lay down, nor when she arose.
He perceived not, meaning he didn't know what happened. He was oblivious to it. Right? People who are anti-Bible will go, well, what you mean? Come on, man. Who gets that drunk? Well, listen, I don't care, because he's not one of my forefathers. That's your defense for that, y'all. He's not my forefather. Plenty of people did plenty of evil, but it was not something that the Most High sponsored, especially for Hebrew Israelites. But at the end of the day, niggas not Israelite. Plenty of heathens did evil in that book. So what? Read.
It says, verse 34, it came to pass on the morrow that the firstborn said unto the younger, behold, I lay yesternight with my father. Let us make him drunk. Let us make him drink wine this night also, and go thou in and lie with him, that we may preserve seed of our father.
Man, them hoes is crazy. Go ahead.
And they made their father drink wine that night also, and the younger arose and lay with him, and he perceived it not. She lay down, nor she arose.
He was oblivious to this. Read on.
Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father.
And they both got knocked up that night. There were 2 consecutive nights. Go ahead.
And the firstborn bare a son, and called his name Moab.
Moab, meaning he is like his father. Go ahead.
The same is the father of the Moabites unto this day. And the younger, she also bare a son, and called his name Ben-Ami. The same is the father of the children of Ammon unto this day.
That's right. Go ahead.
And this chapter 20.
So, and those people were born with mongoloidism.
Yeah.
Okay, because they were products of incest. So they were cursed. And they're known as bastards or mamzers. Okay, don't let anybody tell you a mamzer is anything outside of an incest baby, a Moabite or an Ammonite. That's why Chinese people and Japanese people look the way they look. They have mongoloidism. Yeah. Why? Because they are the product of Lot and his 2 daughters' incestuous relationship. So they were cursed by God to look the way they look. Yeah. To not have the epicanthic fold.
You have that.
They do have the epicanthic fold. Okay, which makes their eyes like slits. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Or as my mom used to say, coin slots.
Go ahead.
This is Deuteronomy 23:2. A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Lord.
Read on.
An Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord.
Uh-huh.
Even to the 10th generation.
You think it's a coincidence that bastards and Ammonites and Moabites are all forbidden from entering into the congregation of the Most High, even into the 10th generation? No, it's not a coincidence. They're the same thing. Go ahead.
Even to the 10th generation of the even to the 10th generation shall I not enter into the congregation of the Lord forever.
Cool.
You want to read Genesis 20 as well?
Yeah, we read 20 to the end, and that's when we'll go to the Lord for that.
So Genesis chapter 20, verse 1. It says, And Abraham journeyed from thence toward the south country, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and sojourned in Gerar. And Abraham said of Sarah, his wife, she is my sister.
Mind y'all, all these places, he just going around what you would call Canaan or Israel. These are where all these locations are. Right? Go ahead.
And God came to Abimelech.
Read that last part again.
And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah.
No, before that.
And sojourned in Gerar.
Before that.
And Abraham journeyed from thence toward the south country, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and sojourned in Gerar. And Abraham said of Sarah, his wife, she is my sister.
See that? He's doing it again. We read the same thing last week. He's lying, saying she's his sister when she's not. So that's what's happening here. Not that this is his sister. He's scared, so he's lying. He already said this last time in Egypt. All right, we went over this last week in the script. Go ahead.
It says, and Abraham said of Sarah, his wife, she is my sister. And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, Behold, thou art but a dead man. You're a dead man.
Why do you think they call him El Shaddai? You know what they call him El Shaddai? In the Hebrew, Al-Shaddai, great demon-like power. Because, you know, you thought you met a girl, and then you go to sleep, and then there's a frightening man in your dreams who says you are a dead man.
You're going to die. What a terrible night.
That's why he says he's like a demon, man.
King of terror.
You see, to us, he's our God. We love him. We have this relationship with him. Other people, he's like a demon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why the scripture said the name of the Lord is dreadful to you.
That's right. He's like a boogeyman, but real to them. To us, he's like, you know, a great, you know, he's like you got certain dudes in the hood that, you know, if this is your big brother, this is your homie that you're tight with, y'all can say that name, and that name will evoke fear in the hearts of anybody. Because of the type of action that he puts in. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's the same thing. Hey, you are but a dead man in your dreams. You be haunted. Go ahead.
It says, thou art but a dead man, for the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife. But Abimelech had not come near her.
He hadn't had sex with Sarah, but he sure did snatch her fine ass up. Read on.
And he said, Lord, wilt thou slay also a righteous nation?
He said, you won't kill me. I even do nothing. Go ahead.
Said he not unto me, she is my sister? And she...
He didn't tell me that was his wife, nigga. Go ahead.
Even she herself said, he is my brother.
They need to do the hood versions of all these. Just imagine the hood version. Hey, my nigga, hold on.
It's the hood version. I'm reading.
You feel me? Yeah, you're right. It is the hood version. We need a modern version. That's why we putting in these terms on people can understand. He said, my nigga. Yeah, I ain't even do that. Go ahead.
I couldn't imagine having one of these Christian apologists listen to our little Bible study. Right?
I know. Talking about otherworldly, the predator coming and killing the whole town. You know? Oh, go ahead.
He said, even she herself said, he is my brother, and the integrity of my heart and innocency of my hands have I done this.
He said, look, I ain't do nothing to this girl. Go ahead.
He says, and God said unto him in a dream, Yea, I know that thou didst in the integrity of thy heart, for I also withheld thee from sinning against me.
He said, listen, I know you didn't do it because I control you, you idiot. You're a robot. I control you. I'm playing you like a damn Sims game, nigga. I know you didn't have sex with that girl because I chose for you not to. Go ahead.
It says, therefore suffered I thee not to touch her.
Mm-hmm.
Now therefore,
meaning showing you there's no free will. Go ahead.
Now therefore restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet.
He said, you did that powerful, brother. You give him his wife back. Read.
And he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live, and if thou restore her not.
But then he's gonna ask me not. Listen, this is how I got the whole thing set up. You give him his wife back, he's gonna ask me not to do nothing to you, and because he asked me, I'm not gonna do nothing. This is how the Most High got the whole place set up. Go ahead.
And if thou restore her not, know thou that thou shalt surely die.
Mm-hmm. If you don't give her back, you're a dead man.
Yeah, I'm going to kill you.
I'm going to kill you.
Thou, you, and all that are thine.
And your whole nation of people, I'm just going to wipe them niggas out. Not even going to be no more of you niggas. Right? Go ahead.
Therefore, Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants and told all these things in their ears, and the men were sore afraid.
They're scared of Al-Shadi, Yahweh, Al-Yawan, Al-Yawan. Go ahead.
Then Abimelech called Abraham and said unto him, what hast thou done unto us? And what have I offended thee, that thou hast brought on me and my kingdom a great sin?
He looking like, man, Abraham, what the hell did I do to you, nigga, that you doing this to me? Go ahead.
Thou hast done deeds unto me that ought not to be done. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, what sawest thou that thou hast done this thing? And Abraham said, because I thought, surely the fear of God is not in this place.
He just knew you didn't care about God. He knew you didn't. I knew you didn't care about sin. You Canaanite. Read. Y'all niggas is evil. That's what Abraham. Y'all niggas wicked as hell, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and they will slay me for my wife's sake.
He said, I know y'all just going to kill me so you can have this woman. Go ahead.
Showing
you what? That's not his sister again. Go ahead.
And yet, indeed, she is my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother.
Read on.
And she became my wife. And it came to pass, when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said unto her, this is thy kindness which thou shalt show unto me. At every place whither we shall come, say of me, he is my brother. And
he said, look, lie and tell people that we're related. I mean, we're brother and sister, rather. When we come around people, because niggas gonna try to kill me for your fine act. Go ahead.
It says, and Abimelech took sheep and oxen and men servants and women servants.
No, it's not his half. It's not his sister at all. He's lying. He just said it. He's lying. What's wrong with y'all? Go ahead.
It says, men servants and women servants, and gave them unto Abraham, and restored him Sarah his wife. And Abimelech said, behold, my land is before thee. Dwell where it pleaseth thee.
Hey, look, you live. Yahweh's with you. You live wherever you want to live. Go ahead, around here.
And unto Sarah he said, behold, I have given thy brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, he is to thee a covering of the eyes, unto all that are with thee, and with all the other. Thus she was reproved. So Abraham prayed unto God, and God healed Abimelech, and his wife, and his maidservants, and they bare children. For Yahweh had fast closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife.
He fast closed up all the wombs, meaning they couldn't have no kids over there. That's the Most High. It's terrible to these people, man. All right. Man, what is all this chinky eye talk y'all talking about in this damn chat? I'm getting ready to kick you niggas out if it proceeds from here. Just to let you know. Plenty of people have quote unquote chinky eyes, but only one group of people have the epicanthic fold.
Yeah.
There's a difference between having slanted or tight eyes and having an epicanthic fold, a drastic difference. Okay? I ain't seen no black people with the epicanthic fold. So now, who's in there? Okay.
The law.
The law. Law. Thalorah. Exodus 25, 1 and 9. We'll start there. We're going to jump around a little bit because there's a lot. I don't want to go a lot of the sacrificial stuff. We're not going to go all deep off into certain of the very specific schematics that are given for the tabernacle. We're not going to go all into. Okay. That's very long and things of that nature. We'll really just kind of keep it on commandments that, you know, are practical application in the day and time that we currently live in. Okay. So go ahead.
This is Exodus chapter 25, verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring me an offering of every man that giveth it willingly.
So bring me an offering of every man that giveth it willingly. Okay, so when you give a sacrifice unto the Most High, you have to give it willingly, right? And we understand that it's talking about sacrifices that were brought to the temple or to the tabernacle during that time. But the spirit of this law is when you sacrifice, when you give yourself, when you go out to the streets to teach, or anything that you do, when you fast, when you do any of these things that are perceived as sacrificial towards the Most High Yahweh, you have to do it willingly, or the Most High will deem that an unacceptable sacrifice. Right? So go ahead.
You want me to get that wrong?
No, it's all right. Go ahead.
It says, of every man that giveth it willingly with his heart, ye shall take my offering. And this is the offering which ye shall take of them: gold and silver and brass.
It said what?
Gold and silver and brass.
Oh man, you're not supposed to. Moses didn't say anything about money. Gold and silver and brass. So yes, tithes were things, products, and your produce and the crops and things like that. Also was gold and silver and brass and money. No, we don't get to numbers eventually where it's going to say money. All right. Oh, look at the sisters. Big shalom to the sister. Always for being so supportive of this ministry. Aliyah Shabbat and Ima, who willingly just gave $49.99. Yahweh Shem Yahweh brought a thought to you, princess. This is always willingly supporting the ministry in multiple ways. You know what I'm saying? So it says you have to give it willingly. It says of gold and of silver and of brass. So it's not just you got a doctor going around. No, they were only bringing crap. No, and then it was money. There's the treasury connected to that temple. What do you think that treasury was about? What you think went there? Nothing.
What do you think? Remember the story with Yahushua and the poor widow? When he said, "Who do you think gave more, the poor widow or the rich?"
You remember because she threw 2 mites into what? The treasury. The treasury. What's the treasury? People came to put money in there. Go ahead.
Listen, not a Levite, just stay away from the law.
Yeah. Not a Levite. Don't even touch the law. Just forget. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just wait to be instructed. Go ahead.
And blue and purple and scarlet, fine linen and goat's hair.
And this is what they were making the temple out of, the tabernacle out of. Okay. So in order to build the tabernacle, gold, silver, and brass was needed, either for different parts of the tabernacle and also to purchase and acquire things for the tabernacle. And then all these different supplies were needed because this is what the tabernacle was to be made up of. But all this was to be given willingly. Read.
Stop saying it was
time out. He's on time out. I'm done. He's on time out. Come back in a minute, Negro. Go ahead.
Think about what you did. You know.
Go sit the stand in the corner.
My people are so funny. It's just 25 and 5. The lamb skins dyed red and badger skin and shittim wood. Oil.
Because this is what the tabernacle is made up of and the various vessels that are within it. Okay, go ahead.
Oil for the light, spices for anointing oil, and for sweet incense. Onyx stones and stones to be set in the ephod and in the breastplate. And let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them. Verse 9. According to all that I showed thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall you make it. Okay, so that was in tabernacle instructions. The next few chapters there in Exodus are going to get very in depth on that. We're going to skip over that. We're going to go to Exodus 31, and we'll start at 12. We're going to read 12 to 18 there. This is Exodus chapter 31 and verse 12. It says, and Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep.
So it says, my Sabbaths shall ye keep. Read on.
For it is a sign between me and you.
So the Sabbath is another thing like circumcision. It's a sign between the Most High and us. It's a symbol, right? Read on.
Throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am Yahweh, that thou sanctify.
So it's another thing that we have to keep, okay, as a token of covenant, as a sign. Read on.
Ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death.
Read on.
For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among the people.
That's right. That's so. For everybody who has off-topic questions, we won't be dealing with those, okay? Not in this class, probably, maybe at the end, but maybe not this classes. Tuesday night classes is going to be very specific for the history of Israel and a portion of Torah, and that's what we're pretty much covering. We may open up later, but for the most part, that's all we're dealing with on this class. Go ahead.
6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest.
So the Sabbath is important. Read on.
Holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death.
That's right. So we're not supposed to work then. Go ahead.
Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant.
That's right.
It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever.
So we got to keep Sabbath just like we got to get circumcised. Go ahead.
For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed.
That's right.
Verse 18.
So that's the symbol. Go ahead.
And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone written with the finger of God.
That's right. So basically, the chariots had engraved on stone commandments. Okay, we'll read about what happened to that later when we get to that portion of the history. But as for that, we're going to leave Exodus, and now we're going to go to Leviticus 4. We'll read Leviticus 4, Leviticus 5, Leviticus 6, all the way to the end. So go ahead.
This is Leviticus chapter 4 and verse 1. It says, And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a soul shall sin through ignorance.
If a soul sin through ignorance. This is a very important law. It's very important to understand, because there's times where you may commit a sin and you're doing it ignorantly. You don't know it's a sin, or you may bite into food and not know that there is uncleanliness in that food. There's something that you can't eat. There may be an unclean ingredient, or you may be doing something and not realizing you're committing a sin, right? If a soul sin is sin in ignorance, read on.
If a soul shall sin through ignorance against any of the commandments of the Lord concerning things which ought not to be done, and shall do against any of them, if the priest that is anointed do sin according to the sin of the people.
So there's also a priest here. So you have, if the priest is going off just like the people are going off, read.
Then let him bring for his sin, which he hath sinned, a young bullock without blemish unto Yahweh for a sin offering.
That's right. A young bullock is what a priest would have to bring if he ignorantly sins. Go ahead. Which he should know better. Go ahead.
Yeah. And he shall bring the bullock unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord, and shall lay his hand upon the bullock's head and kill the bullock before the Lord. And the priest that is anointed shall take of the bullock's blood and bring it to the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle of the blood 7 times before Yahweh, before the veil of the sanctuary. And the priest shall put some of the blood upon the horns of the altar.
This is how the ritual is conducted. All right, go ahead.
Of sweet incense before Yahweh, which is in the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall pour all the blood of the bullock at the bottom of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he shall take off from it all the fat of the bullock for the sin offering, the fat that covereth the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards.
So he takes all the fat out of this bull, right? Read on.
And the 2 kidneys and the fat that is upon them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the liver with the kidneys, it shall he take away.
He shall take away all that fat in them kidneys, right? Read on.
And it was taken, as it was taken off from the bullocks of the sacrifice of peace offerings, and the priest shall burn them upon the altars of the burnt offering.
So you burn all that fat. That's what they would do. They would burn all that fat to the Most High. Go ahead. The water Yahshua Alexander Yahweh Shem Yahweh Barakatah. Go ahead.
And the skin of the bullock and all his flesh with his head and with his legs and his inwards and his dung, even the whole bullock shall he carry forth without the camp unto a clean place, where the ashes are poured out, and burn him on the wood with fire. Where the ashes are poured out, shall he be burnt.
Go ahead.
And if the whole congregation of Israel sin through ignorance,
so we have an instance where you have the high priest sinning and what he would have to do, but then it says that the whole congregation sinned, and it's being, for the most part, we're going to skip over a lot of the very in-depth sacrificial instructions, but in this instance, we're going to go into it. All right, so go ahead.
And if the whole congregation of Israel sin through ignorance, and the thing be hid from the eyes of the assembly, and they have done somewhat against any of the commandments of Yahweh concerning things which should not be done, and are guilty, when the sin which they have sinned against it is known, then the congregation shall offer a young bullock for the sin, and bring him before the tabernacle of the congregation. And the elders of the congregation shall lay their hands upon the head of the bullock.
Why are the elders of the congregation laying their heads upon the head of the bullock? It is a transfer of ownership. Ownership of what? The sin.
Yeah.
It's symbolic of all those sins of all these representatives are bringing going on to this bullock. Later in the law, you'll find that all of this is given to the Levites. All right, go ahead.
Come on. It says, the head of the bullock before the Lord, and the bullock shall be killed before the Lord. And the priest that is anointed shall bring of the bullock's blood to the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall dip his finger in some of the blood and sprinkle it 7 times.
This is a ritual. It sounds like voodoo.
Yeah.
You're taking your hand, you're rubbing it in blood, you're flinging it around. It sounds like this is where we learned all this from. Right? From corrupting the instructions that Yahweh gave us to offer sacrifices to him and beginning to offer to make believe things. All right, go ahead.
And the priest shall dip his finger in some of the blood and sprinkle it 7 times before the Lord, even before the veil. And he shall put some of the blood upon the horns of the altar, which is before the Lord, that is in the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall pour out all the blood at the bottom of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he shall take all his fat from him and burn it upon the altar. And he shall do with the bullock as he did with the bullock for a sin offering. So shall he do with this. And the priest shall make an atonement for them, and it shall be forgiven them.
So it'll be forgiven of whatever ignorant sin the whole congregation of Israel committed. The same thing is being brought for one priest and the whole nation, which shows you how important it is for a priest not to go off. But go ahead.
It says, and he shall carry forth the bullock without the camp and burn him as he burned the first bullock. It is a sin offering for the congregation. Verse 22. When a ruler hath sinned and done somewhat through ignorance against any of the commandments of Yahweh his God,
like a king, go ahead,
concerning things which should not be done, and is guilty, or if his sin wherein he hath sinned come to his knowledge, he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a male without blemish.
So this is just a goat now, right? So it's showing you that the standard that a high priest is held to. A high priest has to bring the same thing the whole nation would have to bring to sacrifice and atone for an ignorant sin. But a king only got to bring a goat, which is like a lesser animal, lower on the totem pole in value. See that? So a high priest sinning is literally the equivalent to the whole nation sinning, which proves the high standard that we're held to. We see it alludes to this in Ezekiel 9:4 when it says to start at the house of the Lord. Right? That's where the judgment starts. Also with Malachi 2, with the curses coming on Levi and us being made basic contemptible and being afflicted with the curses, the level that we are as a tribe of Levi, so-called nations, because literally we are held to such a high standard by Yahweh. That law right there is a clear substantiation of that. If one Levite sinning is as bad as the whole nation sin, but a king sinning is like, oh, just bring a goat. That's serious. That shows the standard that we're held to and how bad it is for us to go off. Go ahead.
It says, or if his sin, a kid of the goats, a man without blemish, and he shall lay his hand upon the head of the goat and kill it in the place where they killed a burnt offering before the Lord. It is a sin offering. And the priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering with his finger and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out his blood at the bottom of the altar of burnt offering. And he shall burn all his fat upon the altar as the fat of the sacrifice of peace offerings. And the priest shall make an atonement for him as concerning his sin, and it shall be forgiven him. And if any one of the common people sin through ignorance, while he doeth somewhat against any of the commandments of the Lord, concerning things which ought not to be done, and be guilty, or if his sin, which yet sin, come to his knowledge, then...
So if you're a regular person, you sin a sin, and once it's made aware that you went off, that you sin here, go ahead.
Then he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats.
A goat, see that? Lesser is lower on the total pole for a regular old Israelite or even a king to sin.
Yeah.
But if a Levite sins, it's as bad as the whole nation sin. Read.
A female without blemish for his sin which he hath sinned. And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the sin offering, and slay the sin offering in the place of the burnt offering. And the priest shall take of the blood thereof with his finger, and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out all the blood thereof at the bottom of the altar. And he shall take away all the fat thereof, as the fat is taken away from off the sacrifice of peace offerings. And the priest shall burn it upon the altar for a sweet savor unto the Lord.
Burning that fat.
And the priest shall make an atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. And if he bring a lamb for a sin offering, he shall bring it a female without blemish. And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the sin offering, and slay it for a sin offering in the place where they kill the burnt offering. And the priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering with his finger, and put upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out all the blood thereof at the bottom of the altar. And he shall take away all the fat thereof, as the fat of the lamb is taken away from the sacrifice of the peace offerings. And the priest shall burn them upon the altar, according to the offerings made by fire unto the Lord. And the priest shall make an atonement for his sin that he hath committed, and it shall be forgiven him. Chapter 5. And if a soul sin and hear the voice of swearing,
if a soul sin now and hear the voice of swearing, read on,
and is a witness whether he has seen or known of it.
If you know about it, if you know that somebody's committed a sin, if you saw it happen, if you're an eyewitness, or you heard about it, so you have knowledge that it happened, right? Read on.
And if he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity.
So you are bearing the iniquity of the sin that you're covering for without saying anything. So you have to say something about it. You have to. Leviticus 5:1, right? Read.
Or if a soul touch any unclean thing,
if you touch anything unclean, read on.
Whether it be a carcass of an unclean beast, or a carcass of unclean cattle,
read on.
Or the carcass of unclean creeping things, and if it be hidden from him, he also shall be unclean and guilty.
That's right, unclean and guilty. Even if you don't know, you're still unclean and guilty. Read on.
Or if he touch the uncleanness of man, whatsoever uncleanness it be, that a man shall be defiled withal, and if it be hid from him, when he knoweth of it, then he shall be guilty.
As soon as you realize and you find out what happened, then you serve your guilty sentence. All right, go ahead.
Or if a soul swear, pronouncing with his lips to do evil, or to do good.
If you swear, see, our people have a problem. Our people break this all the time. Our people want to put everything on everything they love, on their mama, or on their hood, or on their kids, all that, right? Go ahead.
It says, or if a soul swear, pronouncing with his lips to do evil or to do good, whatsoever it be that a man shall pronounce with an oath, and it be hid from him, when he knoweth of it, then he shall be guilty in one of these.
That's right. You shall be guilty. Go ahead.
And it shall be, when he shall be guilty in one of these things, that he shall confess that he hath sinned in that thing.
So you confess your sins, read on. That's where the Catholic Church gets confession from.
Yeah.
You confess your sins.
And
Usher's a Levite, a Levitical priest. He understands about confessions, right? Go ahead.
And he shall bring his trespass offering unto the Lord for his sin.
That's right. You bring a trespass for sin. You have sinned. Read.
Which he has sinned, a female from the flock, a lamb or a kid of the goats,
read on.
For a sin offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his sin. It says, verse 7. And if he be not able to bring a lamb, then he shall bring for his trespass, which he hath committed, 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, unto the Lord, one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering.
Go ahead.
And he shall bring them unto the priest, who shall offer that which is for the sin offering first, and wring off his head from his neck.
He shall what?
Wring off his head from his neck, but shall not divide it asunder.
Go ahead.
And he shall sprinkle of the blood of the sin offering upon the side of the altar, and the rest of the blood shall be wrung out at the bottom of the altar.
Watch this. Y'all want to see something? Read that again.
And he shall sprinkle of the blood of the sin offering upon the side of the altar, and the rest of the blood shall be wrung out at the bottom of the altar. It is a sin offering.
Start from the first. Yeah, even a little higher than that.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm gonna tell you right when. This one. Okay. Watch this. I want to show you guys something. Okay, y'all can see. Okay, read that. Read that.
Okay. This is Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 7. And if he be not able to bring a lamb, then he shall bring for his trespass, which he hath committed, 2 turtle doves,
A bird, right?
or 2 young pigeons unto the Lord, one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. It says, and he shall bring them unto the priest, who shall offer that which is for the sin offering first, and wring off his head from his neck.
And what?
Wring off his head from his neck.
Now watch this. Now see how Levi's doing it? What is he doing? Read that in the Bible.
Come. And wring off his head from his neck.
Is that not what he's doing? Wring off his head from his neck. Right? Then what?
Come. But shall not divide it asunder, and he shall.
They didn't cut him up. They just wrung his head off his neck. And what else?
And he shall sprinkle of the blood of the sin offering upon the side of the altar.
Is that what he's doing? It sure is. Go ahead.
It says.
So where did voodoo come from? The Bible. Read on.
And the rest of the blood shall be wrung out at the bottom of the altar, for it is a sin offering.
Is what they did, right? Now watch this. Hold on. Y'all gonna see something else he did. Watch this. You'll read about this elsewhere in the Torah. Something that the priest had. Not this part. Watch me. See that? He's casting lots. He cast lots a few times. Watch him do it again. Casting lots just like Aaron did. So that's where voodoo comes from, so you can understand. Right? So go ahead.
Come. And he shall offer the second for a burnt offering according to the manner, and the priest shall make an atonement for him for a sin which he hath sinned, and it shall be forgiven him.
Go ahead.
But if he be not able to bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, then he that hath sinned shall bring for his offering the 10th part of an ephah.
You got to bring something. So if you can't bring a living thing, then you bring a 10th part of flour. Right? Read on.
Fine flour for a sin offering, he shall put no oil upon it, neither shall he put any frankincense thereon, for it is a sin offering.
That's right. Go ahead.
Then shall he bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his handful of it, even a memorial thereof, and burn it on the altar, according to the offerings made by fire. Unto Yahweh it is a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him as touching his sin, that he hath sinned in one of these, and it shall be forgiven him, and the remnant shall be the priest as a meat offering. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying,
yeah, yes, leader for Christ. Voodoo is witchcraft, but it comes from the corruption of the Levitical priesthood that the Most High gave to the tribe of Levi. They corrupted it, began to do it for evil, right? So I was just showing you that the rituals that they practice are based in the instructions that God gave to the Levitical priests in the Torah. It's not right what they're doing, because they're sacrificing to idols, to demons, to things that don't even exist, not to the Most High. It's not right, but it is got from the Bible, right? So read on. Every top Haitian voodoo practitioner and priest studies the Bible. The water Julius Harris, Go ahead.
It says, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, if a soul commit a trespass and sin through ignorance in the holy things of the Lord, then he shall bring for his trespass unto the Lord a ram without blemish.
A top level beast. If you sin in the holy things, the things that are sanctified for Yahweh, you got to bring a ram. Read.
Without blemish out of the flocks, with thy estimation by shekels of silver, after the shekel of the sanctuary for a trespass offering.
Go ahead.
And he shall.
And you got to bring money.
Yeah.
You got to bring money. You got to bring a ram and cash. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Oh, they up now.
And he shall make amends for the harm that he had done in the holy thing, and shall add the 5th part thereto, and give it unto the priest. And the priest shall make an atonement for him with the ram of the trespass offering, and it shall be forgiven him. And if a soul sin and commit any of these things which are forbidden to be done by the commandments of the Lord, though he wished it not, yet is he guilty, and shall bear his iniquity.
He didn't know it, or he didn't want to do it. He's still guilty because he did it.
Yeah.
What did that devil tell us the other week at camp? He said, ignorance of the law does not mean you don't get arrested just because you don't know the law. Still broken.
Yeah.
And that's a true point. Go ahead.
It says, and he shall bring a ram without blemish out of the flock with thy estimation for a trespass offering unto the priest.
Hit the water to the brother. He chose Israel. Go ahead.
With thy estimation for a trespass offering.
Another brother who support. I believe Julie's been supporting as well. Appreciate Gotta appreciate everything now. Go ahead.
It says, and the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his ignorance, wherein he erred and wished it not, and it shall be forgiven him. It is a trespass offering. He has certainly trespassed against the Lord.
So now we present our bodies as living sacrifice and Hamashiach Yahushua. But in this time, we was having to bring all this stuff here. You know, now we got to hope that because we don't have the ability to do these things, the Most High is going to have mercy on us. But these are very intricate ways to atone for sins. Right? Read on.
Chapter 6. You want to read all the way to the end?
All the way in.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, if a soul sin and commit a trespass against the Lord, and lie unto his neighbor in that which was delivered him to keep, or in fellowship, or in a thing taken away by violence, or hath deceived his neighbor, or have found that which was lost and lieth concerning it.
Right, so you basically finesse somebody.
Yeah.
Something came into your hands, or you found something later that they thought was lost. You're not directly stealing or robbing, but you are still stealing and robbing. Right? Read.
And sweareth falsely.
And lie and say, nah, I ain't do it. The water RL Yahweh Yahweh Baruch. Read.
And any of all these that a man doeth, sinning therein, then it shall be, because he hath sinned and is guilty, that he shall restore that which he took violently.
You restore that back. Read on.
Or the thing which he had deceitfully gotten, or that which was delivered him to keep, or the lost thing which he found, or all that about which he hath sworn falsely, and he shall even restore in the principal, and shall add the fifth part more.
And shall add the fifth part, which is 20%.
Yeah.
So, for example, if let's say you have a $1,000 computer, somebody steals that from you, they got to give you that computer back plus the $200. If they ain't got the computer to give you, they got to give you $1,200. Yeah. That's how the law of God works. That's called reciprocity. Read.
It says, and shall add the fifth part more thereto, and give it unto him to whom it appertaineth.
So that I can run every week. Every Tuesday we plan on doing this. Every Tuesday, Yahweh willing, we're going to be doing this, going into history, going into the law. Go ahead.
In the day of his trespass offering. And he shall bring his trespass offering unto the Lord, a ram without blemish out of the flock, with thy testament, with thy estimation, for a trespass offering unto the priest. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord, and it shall be forgiven him for anything of all that he had done in trespassing therein. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, command Aaron and his sons, saying, this is the law of the burnt offering. It is the burnt offering because of the burning upon the altar all night unto the morning. And the fire of the altar shall be burning in it.
Right, the burnt offering, because there's continually sacrifices being made to the Most High when we had our temple. Levi, we would be in there just burning beasts to Yahweh, because he just liked to smell it. What you're going to find out is the Most High just like the smell of these animals burning. Period. There are sacrifices that the Most High have in place that don't have to deal with atoning for nobody's sins. That don't have to do with none of that. He just wants the animal killed and burnt. He just wants to smell it. That's what it said. We're going to get to that portion of the law, right? So the Most High wants this continual burnt offering. Go ahead.
And take up the ashes which the fire hath consumed with the burnt offering on the altar, and he shall put them beside the altar. And he shall put off his garments and put on other garments, and carry forth the ashes without the camp unto a clean place. And the fire upon the altar shall be burning in it. It shall not be put out, and the priest shall burn wood on it every morning, and lay the burnt offering in order upon it.
Go ahead.
Salaki,
y'all. Go ahead.
It says, what was that verse? Let me start read verse 10 again. And the priest shall put on his linen garment, and his linen breeches shall he put upon his flesh.
So the priest would have to change wardrobe. Read on.
And take up the ashes which the fire hath consumed with the burnt offering on the altar, and he shall put them beside the altar. And he shall put off his garments, and put on other garments, and carry forth the ashes without the camp unto a clean place. And the fire upon the altar shall be burning in it. It shall not be put out, and the priest shall burn wood on it every morning.
So the priest was always having to burn. That's why Yahushua said, is it not written how the priest blaspheme the Sabbath and are blameless? Because building fires and doing work and things of that are not things that you're supposed to be doing on the Sabbath, but the Most High commanded the Levitical priests to do these things and are blameless because it was a part of our job to do the service of the Most High Yahweh. Right? Read on.
And lay the burnt offering in order upon it, and he shall burn thereon the fat of the peace offerings. The fire shall ever be burning upon the altar. It shall never go out.
That's right. Meaning there's always that flame that burned in that tabernacle and that temple is should perpetually be burning. It should always be, the Levites, we would always be burning, and that's why we had different courses. We had different time where you would go serve for 2 weeks, and then you would have time off, and then you would come back in for 2 weeks. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatah walk the water, RL for another one as well. But we would always be burning that. See, that's why we up now teaching the word. This is spiritually the same spirit of us going and serving in the temple, and we got to keep the fire burning. It's what we're doing. We're doing the same thing, but under the Melchizedek priesthood now. So it's the spirit. This is spiritually keeping that fire burning. It should always be burning. Precept.
Yeah, I got a couple because we're going into the law right now, right? Which
Michael Lust of the Sabbath is determined by the new moon. It's the Sabbath currently right now.
So watch this. Just going back off what you said concerning us being up right now. Watch this. Saying Ezra 13 and 38, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts in the
That's right. I can write. Go ahead.
And the torments where they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the law, which is like unto fire.
So we burning that fire, the law. We're just reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah, reading it, burning that fire in the spirit.
Yeah, this is Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 29.
Yeah, Judah. I know it's more. Unfortunately, that's just on needs to go to the club again on Friday night, and they just keep it the Sabbath during the daylights. I know Negroes, man. I know what they're trying to do.
It says, this Jeremiah 23, 29. Is not my word like as a fire, saith the Lord, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces?
There you go. So we working. How we working? By just simply reading the word. Right, so go ahead.
It says, and the fire upon the altar shall be burning in it, it shall not be put out, and the priest shall burn wood on it every morning, and lay the burnt offering in order upon it, and he shall burn thereon the fat of the peace offerings. The fire shall ever be burning upon the altar, it shall never go out. And this is the law of the meat offering. The sons of Aaron shall offer it before the Lord, before the altar. And he shall take it, he shall take of it his handful of the flour of the meat offerings, and of the oil thereof, and all the frankincense which is upon the meat offering, and shall burn it upon the altar for a sweet savor, even the memorial of it unto the Lord. And the remainder thereof shall Aaron and his sons eat with unleavened bread. So
the leftover meat, the high priesthood and the Aaronites, which were like, you have Levi, we were set apart, but then the Aaronites were like set apart even from Levi. And that would be where the high priest would come from. And they would eat whatever was left of the sacrifices that was, lawful to eat. Right? Go ahead.
It says, with unleavened bread shall it be eaten in the holy place, in the court of the tabernacle of the congregation they shall eat it. It says, it shall not be baking with leaven. I have given it unto them for their portion of my offerings made by fire. It is most holy, as is the sin offering, and as the trespass offering. All the males among the children of Aaron shall eat of it. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Concerning the offerings of the Lord made by fire, everyone that toucheth them shall be holy. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, this is the offering of Aaron and of his sons, which they shall offer unto the Lord. In the day when he is anointed, the 10th part of an ephah of fine flour for a meat offering perpetual, half of it in the morning and half thereof at night.
You see that? So perpetually this is be offered. This is not being offered for sin or not. It's just being offered for the Aaronites, or just offerings. Go ahead.
In a pan it shall be made with oil, and when it is baking, thou shalt bring it in, and in the baking pieces of the meat offering shalt thou offer for a sweet savor unto the Lord.
The Lord wants to smell it again. It's a sweet savor, right? He's pleased. Matter of fact, give me Genesis. I just was asked about this. The scripture here in Genesis. Hold on. What is this? Okay.
To me, again, the topic is the history of Israel and the law.
Okay. I thought it was right here. It's like Genesis.
You want to paraphrase it?
So just sweet savor. Just look up sweet savor. I thought it was in my text messages. It'll be probably like the first time that term appears.
Genesis 8:21. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor, and Yahweh said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground anymore for man's sake, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from its youth. Neither will I again smite anymore everything as I have done.
You see that? So
any living.
I mean, he wasn't going to flood the earth again. He did that because of the savor, the sweet savor. That's how much he's pleased with the smell of these things. You know, it's peculiar to me, the concept of smells in the Bible. You know, and most I want to know. Spirit will lead me to kind of crack the code and really go into it. But smells are very, very peculiar. Even that incense that Levi that we had in that temple, if somebody ever that lighting that incense made an angel come. And if you ever tried to counterfeit, ever tried to copy that, you're to be killed. So the concept of smells in the scripture is peculiar, right? But go ahead.
This is Romans, Leviticus chapter 6, verse 22. It says, and a priest of his sons that is anointed in his stead shall offer it. It is a statute forever unto the Lord, it shall be wholly burnt. For every meat offering for the priest shall be wholly burnt, it shall not be eaten. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto Aaron and to his sons, saying, this is the law of the sin offering. In the place where the burnt offering is killed shall the sin offering be killed. Before Yahweh it is most holy. The priest that offereth it for a sin shall eat it, and in the holy place shall it be eaten, in the court of the tabernacle of the congregation. Whatsoever shall touch the flesh thereof shall be holy. And when there is sprinkled of the blood thereof upon any garment, thou shalt wash that where it was sprinkled in the holy place. But the earthen vessel wherein is sodden shall be broken.
Okay, so an earthen vessel. What is an earthen vessel? It's like a cup made out of clay. Earthen, because clay is made of the earth. That's what an earthen vessel is. Go ahead.
And if it be sodden in a brazen pot, it shall be both scored and rinsed in water.
Meaning if it's made of brass, if it's sodden in a brass instrument, then you just wash it and polish that brass instrument. Go ahead.
All the males among the priests shall eat thereof. It is most holy.
That's right. All the Levitical priests eat this. It's the most holy, which is eating of the sacrifices. Go ahead.
And no sin offering whereof any of the blood is brought into the tabernacle of the congregation to reconcile withal in the holy place shall be eaten. It shall be burnt in the fire.
So you have certain sacrifices that the Levites eat. You have certain sacrifices that need to just be wholly burnt with fire. That was on that?
Yeah, that's in the 6.
Okay, so with that, a couple reminders. Tomorrow, live on Solar Vision, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We have myself on debating a brother named Goldmine on the Nile Valley civilization versus the Bible, which is more conducive for the black family. Okay, that's tomorrow. After that, right back here on this channel, we're going live. Deacon will bring in the situation room. Of course, Most High will be joining them for the situation room. I forget who we have tomorrow for the situation room. But also coming up, we have our Florida trip. All right, matter of fact, yeah, y'all, and I'm bringing out the PowerPoint for that debate. So I haven't really brought out PowerPoint because we really just been debating the Bible for the most part on Solar Vision. So this is, you know, it's about the Bible, but it's also about Kendra. So I'm bringing out a full PowerPoint through the Spirit and power of Yahweh. And also, this is what I'm planning to most I want to write my book on is whatchamacallit, I plan to write my book on this subject. Okay, so most high willing, we're gonna get this book. It's gonna be we're gonna get the ebook, we're gonna get the hardcover, or not the hardcover, we're gonna get the physical book, we're gonna sell them, we're gonna have them in the stores, you know, things of that nature, just predicated upon this because I just feel like the topic is important. Through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Yashar, he chose his most high will. Man, the water, and big up to the Princess Vanessa. Also though, we got the Miami trip. Okay, let me plug the Miami trip. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Okay, let's do this. Some devils in.
I'm just looking at some of the comments from one of the other.
Okay, so here we go. December 14th to the 16th, we'll be invading South Florida through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem, calling it SICARRI Vice City, all right? South Beach, Hollywood Beach, Little Haiti, Golden Glade. We're going to be out there with our brothers from Light of Zion. I also am getting a report that our brothers from the Cornerstone of Israel camp based out of Atlanta will also be joining us. I heard of that yesterday. So all praises. It should be a powerful display of unity through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem. So we hope to see all of our brothers in the South and sisters in the South Florida area there. Again, South Beach, Hollywood Beach, Little Haiti, Golden Glades. We're going to hit all that up most I will in between December 14th and 16th. All right, so y'all look out for that. Even possibly Orlando on December the 13th. So anybody in the area, text that number, 206-303-0419. For more information, just text Miami to it. You'll get more information on the Florida trip. All right, also, January 24th to the 27th in Atlanta, Georgia, we're holding the 12th MASHARAH YASHARAHLA Hebrew Summit, hosted by House of Israel, Yahweh's Camp, and of course us, the SICARRI. So we hope to see y'all there. Most I will. Y'all got 2 months to plan, damn it. Be there or be square. It's going down. It's monumental. It's number 12. You notice it depicts the number 12 biblically to the nation of Israel. That's why, you know, through the Spirit, we're doing an ad campaign with the ephod, with every city that and every summit that's preceded this one: DC, North Carolina, Florida, Ohio, Compton, Texas, New York, Florida again, North Carolina again, San Diego, Detroit, and Atlanta, man. So y'all be there in Atlanta, 24th to the 27th, through the Spirit of power, Yahweh. It should be powerful. That's what I got for y'all. With that, we're gonna close out by saying again, Yahweh brought the thumb, and all praises to Yahweh Yahweh. You know, Barak Shabbat. Have a blessed Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom to the lunar Sabbath observers. All right. See y'all next time. Most I want tomorrow or later on today, really. Shalom.
Shalom.